and Dave Attell just goes out and crushes the it's like, I mean, in the special he's doing jokes. There's one like he did this a couple of times. He was doing jokes and then he was like, it's not that funny, relax, and then people are just losing their goddamn mind. But like he hello, welcome back to Al Talks. This podcast I started 3 years ago to chronicle me starting stand up. This podcast is a weekly podcast. It comes out once a week, and this is just a small little introduction video into the podcast. So down below in the description of each episode, you can go to my Linktree and find links to everything connected to me. This podcast is available on YouTube, which you're watching it on right now, and also on Spotify. But yeah, that is just a small introduction into this podcast and everything that goes along with it. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm a little sick, so I need medicine. Last episode of the bulk recordings. After this week, next week's episode will be new content. Hopefully with some news about me gigging and whatnot. I don't know, we'll see. This episode, what I want to talk about was essentially Dave Attell's two different comics. Whoops. Dave Attell's new special called Cross Buns, which is available on Netflix. And no, it didn't pay me to say this, but I've seen recently quite a lot of comedy specials, and this, I have to say, it's probably one of the better ones out there. It is definitely a contender for special of the year this year, because it is about 40 minutes long or so, and Dave Attell just goes out and crushes the it's like, I mean, in the special he's doing jokes. There's one like he did this a couple of times. He was doing jokes and then he was like, it's not that funny, relax, and then people are just losing their goddamn mind. But like while he was touring for the special, preparing, his opener was Ian Findance, and they were on, once the special was close to getting released, he went on a couple of episodes of the various podcasts, like Joe Rogan and stuff. Sorry for rubbing my eyes. And they were talking. They were talking about, just general stuff like comedy and stuff like that. And Attell mentioned that he's nearly 40 years doing comedy. He's 37 years at the moment. And how I came across Dave Attell was Jeff Ross, because they used to do bumping mics and they used to do like roasts and stuff. And they have good, like Jeff Ross and Dave Attell have great chemistry together. I'm going to turn that down a little bit because my ears will explode. Getting a lot of feedback loop there. And like in his special, because people always joke that Dave Attell still has a flip phone, but he still knows everything that goes on in the world. People are like, how do you know? And he's like, because I read newspapers. He's still the very 1980s man in 2024. Now, he did say he does have a phone for like internet connection, but he said it's like a very, very basic thing. But it's just because the reason I mention that is because in his special there is a lot of current, up to date material that he has, and he just hits them with zingers, and it's just like, for someone who's a huge comedy fan, that special was such a joy to nerd out over, because like, I think in We Might Be Drunk with Sam Morril and Mark Normand. They were talking about his special and how just like what I'm talking about now is just how it's so well crafted. They mentioned that while it is shorter than most Netflix specials, the reason he did that is because Dave Attell has great use of words. He doesn't draw out premises that don't need to be drawn out. Because, in the special, there's hardly any there's hardly any pauses. It's just boom, 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 joke after joke after joke after joke. It's just like he's machine gunning you to death with material, which is what you want to see in the special. And that's up in the very high echelons of quality and standard. And also on the We Might Be Drunk podcast, that same episode where they talked about Attell, Mark Normand and Sam Morrell were shopping around bits to each other back and forth, and that was really, really nice to see that. Working on stuff, because like I said, when I met Mark Normand when he performed at the Halfpenny, it was just after he released his last special. Fuck's sake. And during that time, why am I so tired all of a sudden? It was during that time where he was still coming up with new material, so and to see him working, talking stuff out and crafting things through with other comics on a podcast is really cool, because of the conversation that led to that, from them talk about a Tell special. I'm trying to think of other specials that I watched this year. Brian Simpson's special, live at the Comedy Mothership, which is Joe Rogan's comedy club in Austin, Texas. It was kind of similar. Not like similar material, but cadence wise, it was it was very good quality stuff. I've only recently become a fan of Brian Simpson, because up until Joe Rogan opened his comedy club, which is only a year old, but it's like it's one of the hottest comedy clubs in the world. He mentioned Brian Simpson started working there and whatnot, and he does an improvised comedy show there called Bottom of the Barrel, which is essentially like what we have here in what I used to do in what you call it, Fake It Improv, which was just comedy. The audience suggests some stuff. Oh god, this medicine's terrible. Even if I show you the color of it, it's I've I'm recovering from a flu. Well, not recovering. It's not going away. It's not great. I'm kind of glad I don't have shows, because I'd hate to perform like this. It would really bum me out, because of just I'm sneezing a lot. My nose is blocked. The fucking mucus coming out. Oh god. And this fucking medicine is not helping either. I've been using it for bloody days and still, if anything, has become worse. Fucking sucks. But yeah, Fake It Improv was, I still have old footage that somebody sent me from one of the sets that we did. It was because when I think Joe Rogan, when he had one of the last couple of episodes, when he had Brian Simpson on, they were talking about how it's good for writing material, and it is it's like Stitch's Comedy Club do a similar thing called Stand Up on the Spot, except it's a little bit different in how it's run, because like I said, Fake It Improv, how it used to work was all the audience writes suggestions down on a piece of paper, And at the start, we would do like just a warm up round where Connor would say, "Name me a uh, non-geographical location, non-geographical descript, I think, adjective or something," and people would just randomly shout out shit, and whoever had an idea just walk up to the mic and say it. And then afterwards, each person would go up. Each person would go up and get 3 suggestions and do kind of a little act up, not an act up, but do stand up with those suggestions. Try and be quick and come up with something very funny. And then at the end, where suggestions were left, all the comics would line up on stage. I think the biggest we had was like 15 comics, which was always crazy. Like, I mean, you had 15 comedians up on stage. They're all fucking hilarious. And you have these, the audience suggestions. And some of them were just, like, the audience wrote the stuff. And the stuff that we came up with to say, like, the funny things, they would look at us, like, even... There was a couple of times people had really fucked up suggestions. There was this one dude, I won't mention names, but he kept going back to, somebody wrote something about Paddington Bear, and they kept going back, he kept going back to it and be like, "Oh, when you fuck Paddington Bear," and we were all kind of like, "What the fuck is this?" But it was, I don't know, it was very, very strange. But I have to say, I did enjoy it. It was quite fun. Do I have any other things that I want to mention this episode? No, because my voice is slowly fucking going now. And that's pretty much it. Go watch Dave Chappelle. Why do you keep saying Dave Chappelle? Dave Attell's new special. And I also do watch Dave Chappelle because he is probably one of the greatest comedians alive. Definitely in the top 5. Actually, I'll tell you, I think greatest 5 comics in the world right now. Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, who else? Who do I like? I mean, like older comics and newer comics. Joey Diaz, still listen to this podcast every single week, cracks me up. Sam Talent, hilarious, a force to be reckoned with. And who else? I'm drawing a blank. Maybe 5 was too little. I don't know. They are Garbage Guys, Stuff Island dudes. Honorable mentions. Maybe 5 was too many, too little. But yeah, I forgot to mention Cat Williams. Oops, he's gonna be mad now. He's gonna talk about me. No, it's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there because, like I said, sick and I need to go do other stuff. Well, not other stuff. I need to go edit all this because I'm recording this in bulk. But this will be the 3rd week of the episodes, and that's pretty much it. Next week, like I said, this is the last of the bulk recording episodes. So next week I'll have some possibly news, gig updates. I'll tell you how Tim Dillon Sam Talent went, the show, and I think that's pretty much it. So as per usual, links down below to 2 upcoming little shows around Ireland. Not little shows, but shows around Ireland. And all of that good stuff. So I will see you bright and early. No, well, I do release these at like 7 in the morning for you early risers, because I am soundly sleeping in bed at 7. Sometimes I'm not, which really sucks. Most mornings I tend to wake up around 7:34. I don't know why. Like that's just the way my body clock is at the moment. It's either 7:34 or 7:35. Sometimes it'll get, I get a lion and it goes at 7:36. So that's a little tidbit about me. Yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna end the episode there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the support over the last couple of weeks and since the beginning of this podcast, going strong. And that's it. Should see you next week with some new episodes, more news and stuff like that. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.